Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Rookie Division with various wins. Before we have a closer look at all the content, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that do want to take the next step in your game and improve it even more, scan the QR code that is here on the screen or use the link patreon.com/golfclashtom you can find in the description down below. That will take you to our platform where you can find all our premium guides, checkpoint challenge, tour play, and tournament play. Last but not least, the info box on the right hand side gives you the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. On hole number 1, we are starting with our extra mile. Here I would say those of you that do have more topspin to be able to use, then you can do that, because the more topspin we use, the closer we're getting towards the pin. But the extra mile, level 6, it is for me here, 4.5 bar topspin to right spin, max with no elevation. And then we hit perfect to get the ball to bounce on the fairway and to roll as close to the rough line possible, without obviously flirting too much rolling into the rough. On the second shot, we shall prepare our long iron, because here we're going to be very close to the min line, and that's definitely something that we do enjoy, or at least I enjoy that, because having a min line or a max line to work from definitely simplifies the way of attacking the pin. Now I'm moving up a little bit, because again, the difficult part with these type of shots when you're playing with clubs that aren't fully developed is that you do not really have a good ball guideline. So here I'm going to have to guess in terms of what speed the ball comes in, also going to have to guess the direction, which I say it again, I do definitely believe that it is easier to drop shots with better clubs in, let's say, expert and master division compared to what it is in rookie division, even though it is from the first tee and you're playing with less wind. So ball rolling over the hole, coming in a little bit too hot, so we're not really giving it a chance to drop. 15% elevation and true club distance, meaning look to where you are in your club range. In this case, we're playing it closer to the min line. If you do have a tailwind from tee, which is something I would like to add as well, is that you're going to then push very hard to get the ball close to green. There you can use a better ball, such as a higher power ball, and push the ball down the lane, which is definitely not something to be against doing. On hole number 2, this is a par 3 where I would like to go just straight at the pin. There are some interesting spots here, the rough bump possibility out there to the left and possibly to the right as well, but as they have made the rough not really flat, we are going to be dependent on hitting just a very tiny spot to get consistent bounces. So the rough bump may not really apply, especially when we're not really having that good clubs. I'm doing 3 backspin ball guidelines slightly short, this to make sure that we're not coming in too hot, or slow for that matter, because we do not have a fully developed ball guideline. And I say this all the time when we play with clubs that do not have the 4.5 ball guideline or even the 4.2, is that that's the difficult part mainly, because you can try to judge in the best possible way, but it's going to be easy to be focusing with the ball guideline a little bit too much left or a little bit too much right, or obviously with the speed and stuff like that. But max plus 15 is the adjustment. A quasar here might not be the best ball as we're not using side spin. Then I would personally, change to a navigator in the end to reduce the wind a little bit more. And as, again, like I said, we're not really using any side spin, so it's not going to hurt that we are switching to a ball with less side spin. Hole number 2 offers a decent chance for an hole-in-one. Hole number 3 has gone through a change since we last played this hole. That is that they have moved around the trees by the green and thus give us a much harder time to attack for the albatross if you're not making it over the water on the right. Can you make it over the water to the right with lower or intermediate clubs? No, you cannot. That's problem, because you do need to have a decent amount of topspin to get yourself there. But for those that do have the possibility to play with a special ball, such as a topspin boost ball, or that you do have a high a club level that is pretty high on, such as Thor's Hammer, Extra Mile, Apocalypse, then you have the possibility to make it over to the right too. So this has definitely gone from being a pretty interesting and fair chance for a drop, for regardless what type of gear and ball, what type of gear you're playing with, to being more towards the paid player having an advantage on this particular hole. Max plus 10 on the drive, playing with the quarterback. This because I do want to have the accuracy, because my intention is to put myself as close to the rough line possible there to the right, is to give ourselves some sort of a chance on the approach. However, though, you can see that I am a little bit too far left, or like too high up on my drive, which means that I'm too far left there by the tree, and I'm going to then have to apply curl to have a chance for the pin. Now you don't have to use curl, because it's still going to be a safe eagle regardless, but if you want to attack the pin for an albatross, you're going to have to use the curl to get the ball back in line. Now, using curl and having a blind setup makes the albatross being very rare, but in the end we're getting around playing this one completely free to play and sniffing the albatross with definitely the secure eagle in mind. On hole number 4, now we do have a headwind, which is a bummer, because I would rather want to play with a quarterback or any other club that do have a little bit better accuracy than the extra mile. But as I do have headwind and I am not in any interest, or I do not have any interest of using overpower, I'm keeping the extra mile here, using a little bit of left spin and 3.5 bar top spin. Maximum distance with a 20% over adjustment. And once we have adjusted here, if we pull into overpower, we're going to have to use whatever overpower we adjust into, which is very minor. Then you may be wondering, why do you not switch to a P3 ball? I mean, it's because I don't want to use any of the P3 balls that I do have in my inventory. So I'm sticking with the P2 ball, making it a little bit more difficult for myself, but hopefully those of you that do have the possibility to play with a P3 ball in this type of scenario, maybe change to that. Now, second shot, we're going to play with our Thorn, and we're going to play this one with, let's have a look, hole 4 is second shot, there. All right, so we're going to play with our Thorn from more or less min distance, and which is a beautiful way of attacking this pin. I would say like this, after playing this hole a bit more, after making this first recording, if you have the possibility to bounce on a fringe, use that one. I believe that that's going to give us a bit more consistent first bounce. You can see that the ball guidelines flickering back and forth, meaning that we do have some glitch spots there, and it's going to be easy to miss and make the wrong call, as the ball guideline is very deceiving. So here I'm deciding to go pretty high up to make sure that, as a worst case scenario, I might come in pretty hot, but I will not go short. That's kind of how I'm thinking when it comes to these type of scenarios in general play also. It's better to come in too hot, so if you do have glitch spots, to move your ball guideline a little bit higher up to either, in that case, yeah, come in too hot or just be perfect speed. No elevation is what I'm using, and it's true club distance as well. Take your game to the next level with the first 18-hole tournament of the new season. This is the Players Championship coming up in Golf Clash with the TPC Sawgrass, and this is gonna be super thrilling, and I wish we would be playing more of the real courses out there in the world here in the game, so we're gonna definitely take the chances to be spot on and have some fun when the Players Championship comes back into Golf Clash. For those of you that do want to improve your game, make sure to scan the QR code here on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. We do have something for each and every one, and when it comes to tour play, tournament play, and checkpoint challenge. And for us, the biggest focus is to improve your game and making sure that you get the best possible content and service for the money that you spend. We do believe that getting our guides is definitely something that makes you save money, because if you're going to consistently get to the weekend rounds, which we know you will get with our guides, then you're gonna have to either get our guides or you're gonna have to practice yourself, which means that you're gonna spend practice tokens, you're gonna spend balls that you otherwise do not have to do. So in that case, a small investment in a guide is definitely something that could make you save money and still be competitive. If any questions, you can always email support@goldclashtommy.com. Let's do it and crush the TPC Sawgrass in the Players Championship here in Gold Clash. Hole number 5 is an interesting par 5. It's not that long, which makes it actually quite exciting in my opinion. 3 left spin, and I'm using in the end 2.5 bar top spin. You can see that I'm putting my target at max and making sure that the ball guideline is centered down the fairway. Adjustment is going to be max plus 10. And once we have adjusted, we are going to make sure that we are centering the ball properly and trying our best to hit perfect. Perfect ball it is. It bounces on the fairway to roll down, and you can see now that we are nowhere close to the rough on the left or the right. And from here, we are going to go for a rough bump. And you may thinking here, why go for a rough bump when we do have an open shot like that? But there is a reason for that, and you will see that yourself, and that's called a tree. You can see that tree there. If we're trying to bounce on the fairway, the difficult part here would be that we have to bounce on the very low, like the very beginning of the fairway before the green. Otherwise we risk clipping the tree, and then you're gonna be in the bunker or in the rough. So the rough bump here is actually perfect in that sense. You can see how wide and how big it is, right? So even if you do make some errors or you hit great balls, you will still clip the rough and you will still roll out for a birdie. I'm using all the right spin, as the more left you are on the rough, the more consistent it is to give us a better first bounce. No elevation, true club distance. And you can see as well that I left the ball guideline short of hole, and the reason I did that was due to the fact that I don't want to come in too hot. This is a perfect speed, dead center for the Albatross on hole number 5. So the rough bump, in my opinion, is the way to go. A par 3 where having a good ball guideline is going to be extremely important. Maybe not important, but useful is the right word. Because here I'm obviously estimating to where the ball, how the ball is going to roll, and that's going to be cause of, yeah, we're going to miss a lot of shots by doing this, because it's going to be very hard to be accurate and do this exact aim point every single time. Max plus 10 is what I'm having as an adjustment. Now I'm zooming in a lot, this to make sure that the trees are not an issue. And once we have adjusted, we are going to center the ball and hit perfect. And I would say hope for the best, because we don't really know if we're aiming exactly at the pin or not. Marlin ball is the only thing I'm wasting here. There's so much room on this fairway, and the wind is still pretty small, which means that it's not really going to endanger getting into any rough or sand. A 360 out, that's unlucky, but this is going to be a tough one if you don't have a club such as Grizzly or any other long iron with a better ball guideline. For hole number 7, we are going to play with our quarterback here. And the reason I want to play with the quarterback is for its accuracy and also for its better ball guideline. Now, the key here is to not go too far. If you decide to lay up like I'm doing in headwind here, going too far means that you can see the tree that you do have on at the top there. That's going to cover your ball guideline, and it's then going to be just a way for you forcing yourself to save the birdie. And here with a short par 4, we will want at least have a look at the eagle with our short iron on the approach. For those of you that do have a good club and also having the possibility to play with a power 3 or better, you can actually get yourself to green or close to green by being a bit more aggressive. Unfortunately, I don't have that to show here in this playthrough. I'm just explaining what would be possible. On the second shot, you see we're playing with our Thorn, and we're gonna play from max club here. And what I do recommend here is to use some right spin to try to avoid the more not glitchy spots, but the least we want to be in the most consistent spot on that fairway possible, obviously. So using a little bit of right spin and would be the best instead of going the no spin like I'm doing here now. 5% elevation and true club distance here. Could have thought that maybe adding a little bit more would be good due to the straighter crosswind, as that will, after the first bounce, it will bounce us more left. And bouncing on the fairway up towards the pin, dead center, so we have the correct adjustment on hole number 7. For hole number 8, this will be the most difficult hole for all of you playing in Rookie Division. Sure, you can use a big boy club and a big boy ball, like a P5 ball, and just drive over the trees, but not everyone can do that. And the fact as well, when you do have lower level clubs, being able to go with a lot of curl is not something that is possible either. So I'm trying to find a middle way here. I'm actually taking a shortcut in between the trees. This to allow us to have a line for the albatross on the second shot, and also allowing us to have a safe way for the eagle by taking then a little bit more aggressive drive. If I would be playing the drive on the right hand side, I will more or less always be covered by the trees, which means that you're going to have to be very innovative if you're going to save the eagle from there. And that's kind of what you are choosing between here. Either a bit more aggressive drive, but then the eagle is safe, secure, and you have a chance for the albatross. Or you make a super safe drive, but then you're going to have to fight like hell to save yourself to get the eagle, where the albatross is not gonna be there at all. The second shot is, in my opinion, also a bit finicky. Now we're playing with our long iron here, as we do have some tailwind. I would otherwise enjoy playing with my wood club, as it has a better ball guideline. And for me, when it comes to approach shots in tournaments, playing with a good ball guideline is kind of key to be consistently making shots. 10% elevation on the second shot is what I'm using. And we're going to have to just guess the club distance in an accurate way. If we don't do that, then we're going to miss, which, again, it's not that easy. But that's always when it comes to playing with the clubs that do not have a fully developed ball guideline, it becomes a lot of guesswork, and that's difficult for everyone. Doesn't matter if you are a new player or an experienced player, it's always going to be difficult to guess the correct all the time. And here we're aiming maybe a little bit more, too much left, maybe adjusted too much. We don't really know because we don't have the ball guideline to follow. So the second shot is going to be around the hole, absolutely. I am definitely the one looking at taking the more aggressive drive to then have the eagle locked in and also have a shot for albatross, instead of being the more conservative drive where the albatross is gone, and also that is going to be a struggle to save eagle. For hole number 9, we're going to play this one very similar to what we did in the golden shot, which is that we're looking to have the yellow ring, and this instance slightly overlapping the fringe, with the white ring slightly off the bunker. And this obviously because the backbone has different accuracy than the golden shot club. Adding spins using 4 backspin and a little bit of right spin. And you can see that from when the ball hits the ground, it's going to be a massive first bounce. And that's what makes this par 3 very difficult, because it's going to be hard to counteract what happens after the first bounce. And then you can obviously go with a lot more backspin and land directly on green, but that's going to require a lot more backspin. So like a maxed out Saturn or low level Tsunami or some Grim Reaper or something like that. Oh, hitting the pin it is after adjustment max plus 10. Need a little bit more backspin, but here in the worst case scenario, I'm getting myself a birdie. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this playthrough for Rookie Division with various wins. If you do want to improve your game even more, scan the QR code here on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy via the link in the description down below. Last but not least, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications. Those 3 things will help the channel immensely. Thank you once again for watching. I wish you the best of luck in the Golf Clash game.